Hi Science 7, welcome to our video on topic 6 volcanoes and topic 7 mountains. Topic 6 volcanoes looks at what they are. They are when there's some opening in the outer crust of the earth where lava and hot steam and ash escapes, and this can cause, of course, an explosion if it comes up, and lava flows, and there are many volcanoes that are actively spewing gases and even lava, but there are also many volcanoes that are dormant when they are not active at all, but continually watched. So the holes that the volcanic eruption can happen through are called vents, and magma, when it comes up to the surface and comes out, will be called, it's called magma underneath the earth, but when it comes out, it's called lava. So you can see the magma underneath and the lava would spill out. So how this happens to form a volcano is when two masses, like big Earth's tectonic plates, push against each other. Often this is at a spot where it's a subduction zone, and the one getting pushed down goes further down and is melted. It becomes magma, and where that split is in the earth, between those plates is the opening that the magma could surface through. So some of the famous volcanoes that we'll profile here is Mount Vesuvius. Hasn't erupted since 1944, but why it's very famous is because it covered, when it erupted, it covered the city of Pompeii, and you can Google that and check out what they found when they unearthed the basically entire city that is now a rock, and because it was covered by all the lava, so instantly people were just covered in whatever position they were in. And so that's a very interesting historical thing to check out. Mount Fuji in Japan, not erupted since 1707, but also famous. Mount St. Helens in the US, erupted in 1980, blew the side of the mountain out, and that, here's a little video you can check out, but that ash went for hundreds of kilometers. In fact, we have some in Edmonton, there's layers of it. As you look through the river valley, there's layers that we know that came from the ash from Mount St. Helens. So we can see what happened here leading up to a couple months before the Mount St. Helens explosion. We have the magma getting closer to the surface. It was March, and in April there was a bulge that's formed that was even bigger. There was even some earthquakes as this got closer to erupting that was giving clue that would happen. It was 8:32 when it was blowing out the side of Mount St. Helens. It was blowing out the side, and the couple seconds later, actually 10 seconds later, it blew out the top of that volcano. So within seconds, it was so much pressure that it just blew the whole top off. Next one, Mount Pinatubo in 1991. This was so huge that it actually had ash that covered the entire globe, and because there was so much in the atmosphere, it was cooler temperatures resulting from that, because it was stopping the sunlight from getting in. So that was something that affected the whole world. Okay, the Ring of Fire is where the plates, tectonic plates meet up, and that matches with where we see many volcanoes, I can make a whole ring here, exist and have been noticed because they are all in those, like I said, spot where the two plates are colliding. And so you can see that that definitely is a factor. Jupiter's moon has a volcano, and so does Mars. So there's some in outer space as well. Okay, cool video for you guys to check out. And we are going to move on to topic 7. Quick other topic on mountains and how they're formed. And we can take a look at how they're resulting from either plates that come together, pull apart, or even slide over each other. And when there's that collision at the plates, there's so much heat and pressure that the mountain, the rock, can actually fold. And sometimes volcanoes can also cause a mountain because of the lava that's accumulated and hardens. So 3 kinds of mountains. First one are the fold mountains that are caused when the plates come together and converge, and they can fold up. And as you can see, the part of it when you fold something is bumps up, making the anticline, and another part will fold down, forming the syncline. And so these will be basically the anticline is the convex part and the syncline is the concave part. These are usually when continental and oceanic plates converge and push against each other. Usually the one from the continent is a bit lighter and will move over, be the top one that rides over the top of the oceanic plate. And it pushes up to form a mountain. Second type is fault mountains that are as a result of where the rock masses are sliding against each other. And the thrust fault is when those sedimentary rocks are squeezed in from each side, and they slide against one over the other. And fault block is where when they move over each other, the older rock is suddenly found on top of younger rock, and that's because of how it moves under. So this blue layer is the younger rock, but if they collide and one moves under the other, here we can see, if you check this area here, the younger rock would be underneath older rock. So when we examine the rock formations and components of mountains, we can tell how they were formed. Third kind is complex mountains, where we have a combination of processes that can happen, folding and faulting. That is a way that it can be formed, like Mount Rundle here, where it lifted up and folded and then faulted. So the age of mountains, if you can imagine, when they were first made, they're more jagged. Himalayas are young, so they're still actually even rising and growing. And Rockies are very jagged, they're fairly young. The older mountains, like Laurentians in Quebec, though, have eroded and worn down so much that they're not as tall, and as well they're rounded and like smoother on top because of all the erosion that happened over time. So the mountain ranges of the world is profiled here. You can see Alps over here, that Switzerland is famous for. Carpathians here, which I have been to. That's in Ukraine. We've got the Urals here and Himalayas. Going to North America, of course, Rocky Mountains over here, Laurentians in Quebec, and the Andes in Peru. And we've also got the Great Dividing Range here in Australia. Okay, so take a look at the What is Mountain video, guys. Enjoy that. And